Hello students, today we will learn the next part of chapter 1, that is generations of computers. Evolution of the present day computer is commonly classified into generations of computers. Each new generation resulted in the following changes: increase in speed, storage capacity and reliability, and decrease in cost and size. Now let's see the first generation computers. The period was 1940 to 56. They used vacuum tubes as a main component. Vacuum tubes were made of glass and gave off a lot of heat, just like light bulbs. Input was based on punched cards. They used punched cards as the main storage medium assembly. They were very expensive, large in size and had small internal storage. And they were using magnetic tapes as an external storage. They were operate on machine language. Some examples of first generation computers are Mark I, ENIAC and UNIVAC I. Now let's see the Mark I. Mark I was designed by Howard H. Aiken in the year 1944. It was about 15 meters long and the wires connecting different parts of the machine were about 800 kilometers long. It was slow and took 3 to 5 seconds per calculations, but it was the first fully automatic calculator ever. Now let's see the ENIAC. ENIAC stands for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. ENIAC was the first general-purpose electronic digital computer that was invented by John Markley and J. Presper Eckert in 1946. It consisted of 18,000 vacuum tubes and was 1,000 times faster than the Mark I. It could add two large numbers in 200 microseconds. It was originally built to help the army in launching bombs and missiles. It did not have stored programs. It had to be programmed by manually wiring the code for each task. Now let's see the UNIVAC I. UNIVAC I stands for Universal Automatic Computer. UNIVAC I was the world's first commercially available computer, designed by J. Presper Eckert and John Markley in 1951. It was the first computer to handle both numeric and the text data. Limitations of first generation computers: slow operating speed, very high power consumption, required large space for installation, limited programming potential. They could solve only one problem at a time. They were hugely expensive to build. Now, second generation computer. Period was 1956 to 63. Transistors were used as their main component, which replaced the vacuum tubes. Input was based on punch cards and paper tapes. Output was based on printouts. They were used magnetic tapes as an external storage. Programming languages such as COBOL and Fortran came into use during this time. They were faster, smaller, more reliable and easier to program than the first generation computers. Now let's see third generation computer. Period was 1964 to 71. They used integrated circuits, ICs, as their main component, which are popularly called chips or silicon chips. Input was based on keyboard. Output was based on monitor. They used magnetic disk as an external storage. They used sophisticated OS and high-level languages like Pascal, Fortran, COBOL, and RPG. IBM 360 and IBM 370 are examples of third-generation computers. They were smaller in size, cheaper, fast, and more reliable than second-generation computers. They were able to reduce computational time and had low maintenance cost. Now let's see the fourth-generation computers. The period is 1971 to present. The fourth-generation computers have microprocessor-based systems. Here, the input is based on keyboard, mouse, scanner, etc. Now, the output is based on monitor, printers, and speakers. They are using magnetic disk with higher capacity as an external storage. In this generation, the languages like RDBMS and C++ were invented, and they are using special software for maintaining large databases. IBM PC and Apple Macintosh are examples of fourth-generation computers. They have much greater computing power and storage capacity. In this generation, the networking was introduced. Now let's see the fifth-generation computers. Fifth-generation computers are in development stage, which is based on artificial intelligence. They understand voice commands, recognize patterns like faces and other complex images, which will work as an input operation. And output will be generated on wireless and 3D printers, touchscreen monitors, etc. They are using cloud storage as an external storage medium. Quantum computation and molecular and nanotechnology will be used in this technology. Characteristics of fifth-generation computers. They will use super large-scale integrated chips, and they aim to be able to solve highly complex problems like decision making, logical reasoning, and natural language. So here part 2 ends. Thank you.